300,000 years ago, humans were not the rulers of this planet. There were no cities, no written language, no maps. Instead, there were forests, grasslands, ice, fire, and creatures that today exist only in fossils or legend. There was no throne, but the world still had kings. Kings of the natural world, uncrowned, but every step they took inspired fear. They were apex predators, untouched, unchallenged, and above all, they existed because biology had chosen them to be the strongest. The East African savanna, cradle of humankind, was the first stage. Here, lions did not hunt alone. They formed prides, not just out of herd instinct, but as strategy. A group of females would surround antelope herds from three sides, wind at their backs. One glance, a signal. Then they charged. No roar, just grass shifting. And when the dust settled, blood on dry blades. It wasn't cruelty, it was biological precision. One kill meant survival for the whole pride, under the scorching sun where prey was scarce and competition ruthless. Northward, in icy Europe, a different world, colder, darker, deadlier. Prehistoric wolves, ancestors of Canis lupus, moved in tightly structured packs, led by a mature alpha pair, trailed by apprentices, pups, and young hunters, and at the rear, elderly individuals, still serving as observers and decoys. A moose slips on the ice, and within 2 minutes, the entire pack tears it apart. No mercy, no hesitation. This was the law of the cold. Slow means dead. To the east, Southeast Asia's dense jungles, where the canopy blocks the sun. In deep, remote valleys, saber-toothed cats, like Homo still roamed. They didn't need a pack. They ambushed. One leap from above through leaves was enough to kill a large primate, not with brute force, but with a 20-centimeter fang, crushing vital points. They weren't loud. They didn't flaunt. But every species knew, when the wind breaks, run. And finally, the ancient African forest elephants. Not predators, not hunters, but untouchable. Over 4 meters tall, weighing up to 10 tons, capable of crushing any predator if provoked. Most importantly, they lived in families with unmatched memory. No creature dared attack a herd with a matriarch. Even lions would only risk an isolated calf. Elephants were living monuments, a fusion of strength, memory, and genetic stability forged over millions of years. And Homo sapiens, early humans, were merely a small branch of the Hominidae family. Not kings, not warriors, not dominant. We stood at the edge, watching. No claws, no speed, no bite powerful enough to kill. Not agile like monkeys, not airborne like raptors. Our only weapon was the brain. Humans then lived in shadows, sheltering in caves, building lean-tos near the forest edge, moving before dawn and retreating before dusk. We avoided predators, trailed herbivores, scavenged bones from other hunters' kills. We learned by watching, and sometimes by dying from our mistakes. That world belonged to beasts. Power was defined by survival instinct, brute force, and merciless evolution. Homo sapiens had no crown, no role, no name among the untouchables. We were just a small primate trying to survive in a world ruled by kings with fangs. Phase 2, Ice Age Titans. 300,000 years ago, the planet wasn't just grass and sun. Half the world was frozen, and there, super beasts grew beyond the limits of size, power, and strategy. Europe, mid-Ice Age. Average winter temperatures dropped below -15 degrees Celsius. Sparse forests with short trees and open canopies allowed megafauna to roam. Cave bears, Ursus spelaeus. Height, 3 meters standing. Weight, 800 to 1,000 kilograms for adult males. Diet, mostly vegetation, but evidence of carnivory during famine. Dug massive dens to survive the winter. Main weapons, massive forelimbs, long claws, and skull-cracking slaps. Thick jaws, powerful chewing muscles. Each bear could dominate a 20-kilometer square territory. In European caves, human remains, especially of Homo heidelbergensis and Neanderthals, showed bear-inflicted injuries, especially to skulls and pelvises. Siberia, dry, frigid, and open, home to specialized predators. Macharotus giganteus, giant saber-toothed cat. Length over 3 meters. Weight 400 plus kilograms, twice a modern lion. Used fangs not to tear, but to stab weak points, neck, belly, chest. Tactics: ambush from close range, strike fast, retreat if it fails. Powerful limbs and necks suggest extreme pouncing force. They competed not only with prey, but with other predators like ancient wolves and hyenas. North America, especially California, Texas, and southern plains, ruled not by lions, but by Smilodon fatalis, weight 300 to 400 kilograms, fangs nearly 30 centimeters, massive shoulders and neck, short hind legs, not built for long chases. Tactics: pure ambush, stalked from bushes, struck within 10 meters, and finished prey with a throat stab. From La Brea tar pits, over 1,600 Smilodon fossils excavated. Many showed healed injuries, suggesting social care. Evidence of fierce competition over trapped carcasses. Tundra of Europe and North Asia. Woolly mammoths, Mammuthus primigenius. Height 4 to 4.2 meters. Weight 8 to 10 tons. Tusks over 4 meters, used to dig snow, fight, and assert rank. Matriarchal herds. Excellent memory, tracking migration, water sources, and mineral licks. Diet: grasses, mosses, lichens, about 150 kilograms daily. If threatened, they form defensive circles with calves inside. Mammoths didn't rule with force, but with biological consistency, memory, and scale. South America, a different ecosystem. No giant saber-tooths, but 2 giants stood out. Megatherium, giant ground sloth. Length up to 6 meters. Weight 3 to 4 tons. No fangs, no speed, but claws up to 30 centimeters, enough to tear predators if provoked. Solitary leaf eater. Slow, but nearly unkillable. Terror birds, Forest racidae, over 2 meters tall. Flightless, long legs, fast. Flightless, long legs, fast. Hooked beaks, powerful bite. Targeted skulls or spines of small prey. Lived at jungle edges, ambushing lizards, rodents, even small primates. These two didn't compete. One ruled the underbrush, the other open areas, but both shaped ecosystems. Underwater, ancient dominance continued. Prehistoric great white sharks, 6 to 8 meters long. Deinosuchus, 10-meter freshwater crocodile in North America, ambushing large prey. Leviathan melvillei, 13-plus meter toothed whale, capable of hunting other whales. These weren't just survivors, they had no predators. Conclusion: the Ice Age wasn't just cold, it was the golden age of superbeasts. Each continent, each biome, had its own king. They needed no tools, no fire. They existed because nature had chosen them as the perfect fit, and humans were still just observers. Phase 3. The law of the primal forest. Before humans shaped the world, nature had its own laws. No documents, no councils, no commands, only balance, maintained through millions of years of evolution. First, power was never absolute. In the wild, the strongest didn't always live the longest. A full-grown leopard could break a leg from a bad fall. A lion king could die from infection after a territorial fight. A saber-tooth might starve if prey changed migration routes due to weather. Strength didn't guarantee survival. A small shift, weather, disease, accident, could undo dominance. Second, speed didn't mean success. An antelope is faster than a lion, but lions don't hunt alone. A wild horse may outrun a pack for miles, but still fall into a trap. In nature, speed is necessary, but not sufficient. Success depends on energy strategy, timing, terrain, and prey behavior. Third, intelligence wasn't in tools, but in concealment. The smartest species didn't rush in. Those who avoided conflict, observed silently, retreated wisely, lived longer. Examples: small primates like baboons or colobus monkeys used alarm calls. Curved-billed birds tracked large animal movement to avoid danger. Honey badgers let birds find hives, then waited for others to break them. Survival came from adaptation, not aggression. Ancient ecosystems functioned as self-regulating systems. Elephants knocked over trees while foraging, creating paths for monkeys, civets, junglefowl. Antelope herds, fleeing predators, shook the ground, bringing out scorpions, snakes, and lizards for birds. A dying lion fed hyenas, vultures, insects, and decomposers for days. No organism stood apart from the system. Every creature played a role in the living chain. There was no excess, no waste, no destruction beyond survival. Lions hunted only when necessary. Overkilling meant spoiled meat and attracted rival scavengers. Leopards dragged kills up trees, not for display, but to protect their energy source for days. Biological energy transfer in prehistoric wilderness was nearly 100% efficient. No killing for pleasure. No mass warfare. No species destroyed its own habitat. This was a self-balancing ecological symphony. No laws, only evolutionary instinct. No courts, only natural selection. No intervention, the system adjusted itself. Vegetation followed cycles. Predator populations matched prey numbers. Plagues culled excess when numbers rose. And all of this happened without Homo sapiens. Humans were not a central piece in this system. We didn't create the order. We didn't maintain it. We didn't understand it until we broke it. At this point, Homo sapiens had only begun small group hunting. We played no clear role in ecological balance. We weren't kings, we were shadows. Survival depended on avoiding forces stronger than us and watching nature from the sidelines like students, not architects. Conclusion of this phase: before humanity, nature had its own code, a code of reciprocity, selection, and biological boundaries. Every species, from worm to apex predator, stayed within its limits. When humans entered, the order began to shift. But at 300,000 years ago, we were not yet powerful enough to break it. Phase 4, the challenger to the throne, Homo sapiens. In a world ruled by predators and ice, a new creature emerged, fragile, clawless, fangless, slow, but capable of strategy. It was Homo sapiens, the first anatomically modern human, not the strongest, not the most numerous, but the only species capable of metacognition, thinking about thinking. 1. Observation was the beginning. When predators attacked, Homo sapiens didn't fight back. They remembered which tracks belonged to a stalking tiger, how the wind shifted at dawn, which valley had warm droppings, where prey drank before sunrise. From raw sensory data, humans built behavioral models predicting danger. They didn't just sense, they compared, inferred, and planned. The weapon wasn't in their hands, but in their minds. Humans didn't grow bigger teeth or thicker fur. Instead, they sharpened stones, artificial teeth, made spears, surrogate claws, wrapped stones in fire to retain heat, replacing blubber, wore animal hides, using dead creatures to shield the living body. Key point: Homo sapiens didn't evolve biologically, they bent the environment to suit themselves. 3. Cooperation changed the game. Predators moved in packs, but with rigid roles. Humans were different, flexible. A 5-person team might split into a tracker, scout, trapper, firekeeper, and coordinator. When plans failed, they regrouped, discussed, and improved. Even without full language, they signaled, warned, taught, and coordinated. They didn't need strength, they needed synchronization. Didn't need speed, they needed tactics. Small human groups could repel larger predators through coordination. 4. Long-term thinking, a biological breakthrough. Lions don't kill today to eat next week. Wolves don't stockpile. Birds of prey don't plan for next season. But Homo sapiens knew how to smoke, freeze, and stone store meat. Track migration cycles to wait ahead of prey, not chase them. Use elders' experience to train the young. Knowledge didn't die with the individual, it accumulated. No other species had ever done this. 5. Changing the order without killing. Humans didn't need to kill beasts to take land. They expanded through soft dominance. Humans became competitors, not just survivors. Initially, Homo sapiens lived only in East Africa. But between 300,000 and 150,000 years ago, they spread to Central Africa, North Africa, Ethiopia's Red Highlands, the Great Rift Valley, then West Asia and Europe. Each region required adaptation. Humans didn't copy, they customized. No other species had ever done that. Conclusion of this phase: Homo sapiens didn't conquer with claws, bites, or speed. They flipped the ecosystem through learning, memory, and cooperation. Their weapons: strategic minds, information sharing, flexible group roles. From lurking in shadows, Homo sapiens entered the domain of beasts, challenging the throne, not with blood, but with cognitive evolution. Phase 5. The fall of kings and the cost of victory. No power transfer happens silently. And in biological history, there are no exceptions. When Homo sapiens rose to dominance, those once called kings vanished. 1. Mass extinction wasn't random. Saber-toothed cats, Smilodon macaritus, vanished from the Americas and Eurasia. Cave bears went extinct 24,000 years ago, when humans settled their mountain caves. Mammoths, tundra icons, disappeared after 4 million years. South America's terror birds, flightless apex predators, vanished around 15,000 years ago. These creatures had survived climate shifts and ice ages, but they couldn't survive Homo sapiens. 2. Not because they were weak, but because their survival was revoked. Humans didn't wage war for land. They changed ecosystems too fast. Fire cleared grasslands, displaced predators, and devastated habitats. Traps, pits, and snares eliminated entire herds, not just individuals. Overkilling wasn't for food alone, but for fur, bones, skins, or just to clear the area. This was no longer survival. It was the extermination of biological competition. 3. With enemies gone, humans turned inward. As megafauna disappeared, humans lost ecological rivals. No predators to fear, no great herds to follow, no large animals to learn from. With external pressure gone, conflict turned internal. Humans fought over water, hunting grounds, caves, migration routes. Early warfare appeared, evidenced by fossils with trauma from crude weapons. The new king wasn't just a conqueror of nature, but the first to disrupt natural balance. 4. The archaeological record is undeniable. According to the Pleistocene overkill hypothesis, between 50,000 and 10,000 years ago, 80% of megafauna, 44 kilograms, went extinct. These disappearances align precisely with Homo sapiens' global spread from Africa to Australia to the Americas. Wherever humans arrived, mass extinction followed within 1,000 to 3,000 years. There were no global cataclysms, no sudden climate collapse, only Homo sapiens. 5. From dominance to control and the ecological cost. Ancient predators maintained balance by depending on prey cycles. Humans were different. Populations grew. Territories expanded beyond biological limits. Environments were reshaped for short-term gain, not long-term cycles. Natural order was replaced by human intent. No more cycles, only exploitation. No natural selection, only human selection. No wild forests, just fields where wildlife was pushed back or destroyed. 6. The consequences persist today. Lions no longer roam the Middle East, they live behind zoo glass. Elephants don't rule Asia, they depend on reserves. Bears are fairy tale icons, not feared hunters. Hundreds of thousands of great sharks are killed yearly, not for survival, but for human fear. The old kings have faded into history, and Homo sapiens, the last ruler standing, sits upon the biological ashes they created. Final conclusion. Humanity won, but no one knows if the price was worth it. We didn't evolve to harmonize, we evolved to control. We didn't inherit nature, we replaced it. And the final question, did Homo sapiens truly deserve the throne? Or are we merely the final usurper before the next ecological collapse?